Now let's go over the various options that we have for actually dealing with a country diplomatically. There's a big list, and we'll just go through them one by one. So first we have declare war, and that pretty much does exactly what it sounds like. You click on it, and it offers you to select your reason to declare war on somebody, which is usually to beat them up, but that's considered to be no particular reason. And if we were to declare war for no particular reason, over here we'd get an explanation of what would happen. First of all, we'd lose 3 stability, which is a lot, most of which because we don't have any good reason to do it. The other one is because we have good relations with Scotland, and people don't really like it when you attack their friends. We also get warned of who's allied with them, and other factors that might influence who joins into the war. Right now, Scotland is allied with France, so if we were to attack them, France would probably jump in. Not a good idea. We can select a reason here, one of which is imperialism, which is basically just saying that we'd like to take over Scotland. Now you notice we lose the -2 stability, but we keep the -1 because we still have good relations with them. The pop-up here shows us what our benefits are if we choose imperialism as a reason. We get half the infamy for taking provinces from Scotland, extra prestige, and we get slightly less cost for taking provinces from Scotland or annexing them, both of which we'd like to do, but we probably don't want to do that right now because France would attack us. Still, this can be a big list depending on what kinds of reasons you get. The important thing to note, though, is that if a country declares war on you, then from a peacemaking perspective, you're treated as if you had no reason, which means you don't get some of the cost benefits here. Now, in later games like Victoria 2, you're able to select a reason during the war. Well, you can't do that here. So if I want to get the imperialism benefits from Scotland, I have to attack them. They can't attack me. Royal marriage is kind of what it sounds like. A country that's got a monarchy, like us or Scotland, but not a country like Lubeck or the Hanseatic League, which is a republic, can create a royal marriage. And that usually has no game effect. You're not going to see like who's marrying who. But what can happen is if you're in a royal marriage with a country, every time their king dies or your king dies, there's a small chance of replacing the dynasty with a member of their dynasty or forming a personal union where the two countries join together. Or even inheriting the country outright. So if we had a royal marriage with Scotland and Scotland's king died, we might get into a personal union and control Scotland. We might even inherit Scotland. The chances are low, and they depend on various things. One of the most important things is to have more prestige and more legitimacy than the people you're married to. Of course, you can also just use it as a general relations boost. It's good for that, but there are consequences to that, as we'll see later. Offer alliance pretty much does what it sounds like. It makes an obligation between the two countries to help each other when they declare war or get declared war on. Of course, they can break it, and the AI often does at the worst possible times. Scotland is likely, which means better than no chance. It goes from very likely to impossible, impossible meaning what it sounds like, and very likely meaning pretty good but not entirely 100%. There's no certainty. The AI can always say no. In this case, the Scottish AI would likely say yes to an alliance, but there's a pretty decent chance they would refuse it. And if they refuse it, we just have to lose our diplomat and try again. Issue embargo has 2 effects. First of all, it will keep people from trading in your centers of trade, which, as we saw, can be a pretty potent way to make money. But it will also upset the country because they don't like being embargoed. In our case, it would be pretty stupid to do this because we don't have a center of trade, so Scotland would just be getting mad at us for no reason. We wouldn't gain any benefit from kicking them out of centers of trade we don't have. Trade agreements are sort of the opposite. We agree not to compete with each other in centers of trade, and that means that, as you may remember, I discussed the various factors that can cause a merchant to choose which merchant to compete with. Well, if two countries have a trade agreement, their respective merchants will never choose the other sides to compete with, even if there's no other merchants to compete with. Now, this can be bad if you're trying to form a monopoly, and it can also slightly lower your trade efficiency, which means you get less money out of centers of trade. So it's generally a bad idea unless somebody is just really aggressively trying to get your merchants out, in which case it might be a good idea to sign a trade agreement with them and let them focus on somebody else. But you'll notice Scotland isn't going for that. Vassalization is grayed out, so we can't offer it. And if we look at the pop-up here, we can see why. We need to be in a royal marriage with them, have a military alliance, have a high relationship of at least 190 positive, have the same religion, and Scotland has to be at peace. If all those things were true, we could offer them vassalization, but of course they have the right to refuse, and they usually will. Proclaim guarantee is a useful option. Basically what we do is if we guarantee Scotland, we're saying anybody who attacks Scotland has to deal with us. What'll happen is if somebody declares war on Scotland, we'll get a pop-up asking us if we want to come into the war. We can do that, and if we do, we can fight for Scotland and kind of keep whoever's attacking them from getting anything out of it, or we can just use it as a weapon to kind of protect the countries, or even to provoke a country that would attack a country smaller than us. For instance, if France were interested in Scotland, probably they wouldn't be, but they might be interested in Brittany. We could declare Brittany's independence, and then when France eventually does attack them, we can jump in, and that could give us a free war with France. Obviously, France is less likely to attack us than they are to attack a smaller country like Brittany. Warning is kind of the opposite. A warning is to tell one country, hey, don't attack anyone around you, or we're going to jump in. So we would put it on a powerful large country like France and tell France, hey, don't fight anybody, because if you attack Brittany, or Orleans, or even Spain, then we're going to jump into the war and fight with them against you.